In the Course, it shares that sickness is a defense against the truth. And I really feel that unless we look at the defense and stop focusing on the symptoms, then we'll never find peace. I really love to encourage people to look at the fact that defense is something that you've put in place to make you feel safe, and that there's nothing wrong with the desire to feel safe. So the question is, what are you defending yourself against? It's very abstract to say you're defending yourself against the truth. What are you really in this moment defending yourself against? Well, I found one thing that's very supportive is to make a list of everything you'd be doing if you weren't thinking about food or thinking about aches and pains in your body. If you weren't feeling that you were limited by food or limited by your experience of your body, what is it you would love to be doing? Because if we're not harnessing the God-given passion that we have and desire to serve, then we're going to be feeling bad. And we can come up with all these other reasons as to why we feel bad, and then symptoms can seem to appear to say, hey, by the way, you know what, you feel bad today. But that's still not going to address what you are defending against. And I find very often there's a fear of getting into our function. So every time that I've discovered that I have something that seems to be holding me back, let's call it that. You could call it sickness. You could call it aches and pains in the body. For me, in one particular instance, I had quite a severe experience of my back being out. And I literally could not stand up straight. I couldn't turn myself over in the bed, and I was like an S-hook walking around. So what happened was that there had been a guidance for me to clean the group community kitchen that we were sharing. And I was so excited to do that. I was really, wanted this clean start. But then my back went out. So I thought, well, as soon as my back's ready, I'll get on to doing that. I had no resistance in my mind in principle to doing it. But, obviously I can't do it if I can't stand up straight. And then my friend said to me, she said, that kitchen is a reflection of your state of mind. And it's your passion to clean it. So I think you need to clean it. And I'm like now? You mean do it now? And she's like, yeah, it's just your mind. She said, that means there's something in your mind that you're not aware of. And she said, if you can look at scrubbing every ounce of that kitchen as a way of coming into the dark corners of your mind and scrubbing it clean of all the sticky things, then you're going to feel amazing. And I was like, okay, I totally agreed with her in principle, but I was very dubious about the physical ability to follow through on the guidance. So I got several aprons and tied them around me like a support, like a splint almost, so I could stand up straight at times. And then I questioned, do I really need to be able to stand up straight to clean a kitchen? Isn't most of cleaning a kitchen bent over? You're either cleaning a counter, you're down on your knees, you're cleaning a floor. And in this case, it was a lot of down on your knees cleaning and scrubbing. And so I just questioned the belief that I needed to be able to stand up straight to follow the guidance. And that was the biggest thing. And so I had other friends come in and just move out, the sink and the dishwasher and the cooker and different things, to help me move that out. And then they just left me to it. And they all went to a retreat. And there I was, me in the kitchen and breathing. And so every movement for me was an extreme attentiveness to being aligned in my mind. And as I moved through each one of these movements, I did it just to be aligned. And that was my decision, and that was my intention. It wasn't even to end up with a clean kitchen. I had no idea how many days, weeks, months at this rate it might take me to clean it. I did it in every moment just to feel aligned. So it's surprising because it's not what you would imagine you would be asked to do under those circumstances. But what it did bring to my awareness was that it denied the very fact that I was limited in some way. That even things as they seemed to be in that moment, symptoms as they seemed to be, could stop me answering my calling. And that's very, very important. Because if the fears of answering the calling, becoming aware of things that are out of awareness, things that are subconscious, fears that were terrible, way down deep somewhere, and that we'll discover that, or someone else will discover it about us. If that's really what's keeping you blocked and what's keeping symptoms keeping you down and hunkered and afraid, well then you want to see them in the least fearful way. So whatever the guidance, the current guidance for you in this moment is, embracing that is the way out. And function, unfulfilled, is another definition of sickness. So let's just go back to what your function is. Your function is happiness. If you're a Course in Miracles student, your function is happiness. If you're an everyday ordinary human being, you probably have a goal of happiness. The only problem is you're putting that in the future. And I'm talking about a present awareness of happiness whereby no matter what's being experienced, no matter what seems to be happening to you, that you have a free will choice for how you feel, for what your experience is. And if your current experience is anything other than beatific, then that's okay. But you first must need to take responsibility for it to shift it all. So here we go. What happened to my cleaning of this kitchen? Well, after several hours very slowly of cleaning and doing it and not being in pain, I did everything as slow as I needed. I breathed, I paused, and then I would breathe into it. And scrubbing floors and finding sticky bits all over, dead cockroaches, the usual kinds of things you find in a Mexican kitchen. And getting everything together, this sparkling clean kitchen, I stood up, and when I took off my aprons, my back was better. It was literally like having had a physical therapy session for 3 or 4 hours, and everything was back in alignment. Because I didn't want to believe that I was limited by the physical experience I was having. I wanted to believe that it was possible that I could move through and be of service in the way I was feeling inspired and guided to be of service, and that nothing could stop me. And so it's facing the resistance, fear, or however you would describe it, reluctance even, be wary, reluctance of, the protectionism of the back even, that I'll make it worse if I do something like this. And that's it. I faced the defense, and I did the very thing that I was defending against. And so if there are problems with food, if there are problems with the body, if there are problems with everything, ask the Spirit, what am I to do? And don't include food in the body in the question. Because what we're going for here is healing in mind. So there are no questions, what do I do about, and then specific. The question needs to come back to its primordial state, which is, what would you have me do? Where would you have me go? Just go back to being truly helpful, and that will definitely help you.